Bună ziua, stimați telespectatori DC News TV, stimați cititori DC News și DC Business. Un oaspete cu totul și cu totul special astăzi în studioul nostru. Este vorba despre președintele Vodafone România, domnul Achilleas Canaris. Welcome to our studio, sir. Thank you for the interview you're offering us today.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me.
Sir, we go straight to the business. How Vodafone is doing on the Romanian market? We know it's one of the largest company in Romania from all fields. In telecommunication, it has a very top position. But how Vodafone is doing? You are more than 25 years a presence on the Romanian market and on the telecom market.
Sure. I'm very happy to report that we're doing quite well as a company in a very tough market. The communication market revenues over the last 5 years have consistently declined, unfortunately, as a consequence of very tough competition. And we had a few tough years as a company, as we were redefining basically our strategy and our way of working, let's say, in Romania a couple of years ago. We went through a big transformation, strategic transformation. But now, two and a half years into this transformation, I'm very happy to report the business is back to growth, which is always what businesses aspire, let's say. And it's growing across the board in terms of the top line as well as the profitability, operating profitability of the company, which makes us optimistic because when you grow, you have the ability to invest. And this was one of the key things that I wanted to achieve with Vodafone in Romania, so that we can continue investing and upgrading our infrastructure and developing a plethora of new digital services.
Sir, there are more than 20 million users of mobile phones in Romania, at least of SIM cards. How many of them are rounded to Vodafone company?
So we disclosed the numbers on ANCOM. According to the ANCOM numbers, we're the number 2 operator behind Orange, who leads the market. Followed by Digi, the local operator, and Telecom Romania. Overall, it's a very saturated market, as we discussed. There are more SIMs than individuals in the market. But it's a market that has a lot of potential because what I see is that people, in terms of internet usage and in terms of the type of things that people are doing on the smartphone, the tablet, the laptop, is more and more advancing, which gives us hope that there is room, if you like, to grow on beyond just connectivity into a number of digital services that our company is now offering.
It's an important market. They say the speed of internet is very high in our country, and that is helping also those telecom companies, because many people in Romania, they use the smartphones. It's not my case, but on the smartphone, you have everything, as everybody watching us knows. And the Vodafone SIMs is allowing that, to have high speeds, which makes you able to watch a movie or to follow the videos on the Facebook and so far.
Yes, absolutely. I can confirm, and because we have presence in many European markets, I can tell you that Romania, the quality of the network infrastructure in Romania, in the 4G era, is one of the best in Europe at the moment. I actually have a lot of colleagues traveling from more advanced countries, such as the UK, for example, when they come to Romania, and they really can tell the difference. So, you know, the quality of the network in Romania is one of the top in Europe.
And this is due to the company, including Vodafone, who made good investments from the very beginning, or how is it possible to have this? If you are in Britain or in Italy and it's 1900 hours, 2000 hours in the evening, you cannot speak on the phone.
No, it's I think a number of factors. It has to do with the regulation and the easiness of us rolling out network infrastructure. In some places, it's although Romania has a lot of bureaucracy as well.
Unfortunately,
when we want to roll out network, there are even worse cases of even more bureaucracy that does not allow us to roll out network in other countries. I think there is a lot of competition in Romania, which forces everyone to be investing more and more. And I think, especially in Romania, us and Vodafone, from the first moment, let's say, we started in this market, are core DNA, if you like, was all about the network quality. And therefore, we really invested behind that, and we continue to invest behind that, so that we make sure that the quality is undisputed in the local market.
Because Romania joined the mobile phone market later than some other European countries in 1997, and you had better materials to invest in the network. Probably that was one of the reasons.
Better materials, better conditions as well at the beginning, which allowed us to roll out faster in this country. And as I said, good competition, healthy competition, because you had at that point in time the three big multinationals of Europe competing, basically Deutsche Telekom, Vodafone, and Orange. And that helped us, if you like, grow quickly and develop the network that we have.
That's why Romania has this image of having a very good telecom market due to you, to those companies who made the job. Now, an important information for people like me who still prefer, not the financial problem, to have this kind of phones, generation 2 or second generation. Now they reach the 5th generation. In some European countries I went to, it was impossible to use this phone anymore because they took out 2nd and 3rd generation to make room for 4th and 5th generation. Do I have to change my phone? I am using Vodafone. I have to confess this. I'm using Vodafone from the very beginning for 26 years. So what are you preparing me and probably a few 100,000 people who are still using the 2nd G mobile phones?
So you should not be concerned with us, because in general there is a migration from older generation technologies into new generations. And because spectrum, which is the frequencies we buy from Ancom, which is basically how we operate the network, are not unlimited, they are scarce, then we need to make choices of pushing frequencies from older generation technologies into new generation technologies. And that in our case is happening on 3G. So all the frequencies we use for 3G eventually will be and are beginning already to be migrated onto 4G and 5G. And we will eventually completely switch off our 3G frequencies, our 3G network. 2G is safe for now. I can tell you that we are the network, if you like, of the future for us for the next at least 5 years will be composed of 2G for voice users, including yourself, and then 4G and 5G for the more advanced internet users.
Super, that's very good information. So at least 5 years I don't have to change my phone.
Absolutely, no.
Super. Maybe I go to pension in the meantime, so I won't need the phone anymore. What about this 5G network, which we actually wait a lot of things. I mean, we wait that my refrigerator will make direct orders to Mega Image, and the drone will bring the food home, and the refrigerators knows what I need for breakfast. I don't eat in the evening, so basically he will bring me anything I want for breakfast itself, so I forget about him. Is it possible, something like that?
For sure it is possible. We have proven that it is possible, although to be honest, the biggest economic value add of 5G is at this point in time not so much on the consumer space, i.e. ordering from the fridge directly to Mega Image, as you said. It's more around how enterprises can use 5G technology to automate more and more of what they do, to become more effective, quicker to market, more efficient. And ultimately 5G, it's not only about how fast the network will be, it's also giving us the tremendous ability to really customize the network performance on every single individual. Whereas in today's world we offer a quality of service which is the same for every user, and depending on the coverage you have, depending on the device, you may have some differentiation, let's say. In the 5G era, we really be able to understand according to your usage and give you a network experience which is fully optimized on a user-by-user basis. So it's a big change from where we are today. Yes, the use cases have been proven. Unfortunately for us, and this is something that is a European problem, we are far behind in terms of the rollout of real 5G, as we call it, from countries such as China or the United States.
And this is in Romania or in all EU?
EU is behind
EU is
very
behind.
much behind. I mean, the latest statistics indicate that China and the US 5G penetration of real 5G is probably in the mid-60s by now, like 60%, 65%. In Europe, the average probably is half of that. And specifically in Romania, the average below 10%. So we are really far behind.
I noticed 2 times you stressed the real 5G.
Yes.
What does it mean, the real 5G? It's only one 5G.
No, actually, it's so operators today in Romania use a technology that allows to deploy 5G using the 4G infrastructure, to put it very simply.
Yes. Thank you for that.
What does it give us? It gives us higher speeds than 4G, but not the 10 times faster speeds that 5G
As it's supposed to be with
as
the
it's supposed
5G.
to be. So when you build 5G on a standalone basis, so through and through all the network, from the antennas through to the core network, is built on 5G standards, then you get the real difference in performance. And this in Romania has very, very limited rollout by the operators at this point in time. So all of us are mostly focusing for now on what we call transitional 5G, which is 4G plus enhanced 4G, let's put it this way.
4G plus, if I may say.
You can call it 4G plus,
In
yes.
this ITC language
Yes.
that you use. Why is that? Why Europe is behind US and China? I understand why it's behind US, but I don't understand why it's behind China.
Well, very simple reason.
Yes.
The economics of running an operator business in Europe have deteriorated a lot over the last, I would say, 10, 15 years. Because the strategic direction of the European Commission as well as the local governments, which are enforcing basically EU regulations, was in favor of market segmentation. So Europe in the 2000s set out an agenda which says, you know, I want more companies to operate in the telecoms market because I want more competition and lower prices. Which in an era of, you know, very big revenues and very big profit margins, that was okay for a while. Unfortunately, this led to a situation in Europe where we have more than 180 operators in the European Union, whereas in the US you have 3, and in China you have 2. And what's the problem with a lot of brands? The problem is that telecoms is a capital-intensive industry, so you have to put a lot of money in infrastructure. And therefore, the only way you can recover your investment is if you have a lot of scale. And because in our situation in the European markets, local scale matters, it doesn't matter if I am in 15 markets in Europe, I still need to operate 15 local entities, I still need to buy spectrum frequencies from
Yes.
every single of these markets, so there is no real benefit of scale by being a pan-European operator, apart from things such as sourcing, for example. I buy infrastructure for all of my markets instead of one market. So that has led to systemic, if you like, underperformance of the sector. If you look at the telecom sector over the last 5 years, all of the operators have lost more than half of the market value of the companies because we are subscale. We have a lot of capital investments that we need to put in order for 5G to come to life. And we are what we call an over-regulated industry. There's a lot of regulation that prevents us, if you like, from becoming more healthy business. Compare and contrast that with the US, as I said, where you have 3 operators, and with China, where they have 2 operators, where they have real scale. So their ability to invest is significantly more than ours.
That means that this regulation from the EU, because it's not only Romania, harm the industry, if I understand well. I mean, too much competition is not good for the interest of the consumers in this time, because you don't have enough money to invest in those very new and very brave technologies like real 5G.
Absolutely, and I think it's the way I would define it is that it's not aligned with the needs of the countries as we stand today. What's the need of the country as we stand today? The need is for investing significantly to develop the next generation network technologies in a safe and secure manner, so that the citizens can enjoy the benefit, if you like, of those technologies in the future. And this is not aligned with a regulation that is a little bit like acting like the consumer protection. So it's all about more competition, lower prices. That's fine for a while, and the consumer benefits. But if you don't have the operator, if you don't have the mindset as an authority to say, look, the market needs several billions of euro in order for us to be able to jump on board, if you like, the next generation of networks. How can I facilitate the industry to intensify the investments? Unfortunately, we don't see eye to eye yet. There are some good signs. So Commissioner Breton recently announced and is implementing a consultation period for, I would say, a new set of regulations that will redefine the telecoms industry for the next decade. And we have the opportunity as operators to influence, let's say, the dialogue and the debate. There is also the famous OTT fair share argument that is happening with Europe in the last year or so. What is the principle? The principle is that we have at the moment the big tech guys, which are driving more than 50% of the traffic of our networks.
That means the big tech, it's Facebook, Instagram,
Yes.
So Twitter and so forth. Twitter is not very famous in Europe.
Not
so much is in the US.
But Netflix, Facebook, these types of companies, and they invest nothing for capturing that share of the traffic. And our argument as an industry has been, if someone puts such a big burden on network infrastructure, then that someone needs to also contribute on the development of those networks to continue supporting the end consumer.
And Brussels is discussing that?
Brussels is discussing that. Of course, there is a very big opposing wave as well, because you can understand that there are always counter arguments, if you like. But I'm very optimistic because it's for the first time that we're hearing real time being spent on this sort of dialogue. So I'm hoping that by the first quarter of next year, we will see a set of new rules and regulations, which will allow us to continue investing heavily on the network infrastructure, because to be honest, in my opinion, Europe and Romania deserves it. We cannot, I don't know if you remember the old days when mobile telephony was started. Actually, Europe was far ahead of the US and of China.
Yes.
Because we had the technology, we had the companies, and we had the investment capability, if you like, to roll out.
That's very bad news you give us, because losing this advanced technology is very bad for the European economy. At the end of the day, the guys with the 5G will be the one who will have the best profits and the best results.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
This thing, what is the discussion? Because there are many users of Netflix, Disney Channel, I don't know, HBO Max. It means that they should also pay a fee to the telecom operator, because they provide the movies, and even Facebook and Google and those big tech companies?
Yeah, the idea that the telecom sector is advocating is for the big tech companies such as Netflix and Facebook, I'm using these two examples, to contribute towards the industry, to allow the industry to continue investing in infrastructure. There is a lot of discussion around what the mechanism would be. Is it a fund? Who manages that fund? And so on and so forth. But the principle is that these companies that are driving most of the traffic in our networks contribute their fair share, as we call them, in terms of the network infrastructure that needs to be rolled out.
Mr. President, when I use the Netflix, I do a lot of traffic. Normally, if I use the SIM card, if I use the Wi-Fi, is not the job of Vodafone, I guess.
It is, because we have also a fixed business.
You have also a fixed. So one of the telecom companies is involved.
Yes.
Yes, you're right. It makes logical. So if I watch a film, I use a lot of data traffic from you. You should charge more. I mean, you should make more money because you have more traffic.
But that's not the way that the competition principles work today. As I said, we have a lot of competition in the market, and if the choice is for the consumer to pay more, or for the traffic generator to pay something, the choice should be in favor of the traffic generator. That's the argument that we're facing. Of course, we can all increase prices when we can continue increasing prices, but I don't think that's the right consumer outcome at the end of the day. So for us, one way of resolving this issue is for actually sharing some of the traffic, some of the investment for this traffic growth with the people that actually generate that.
Mr. President, you don't make any money out of the voice traffic, right? Now, when I use the phone to call somebody, Vodafone to Vodafone, I don't pay anything most of the time.
Yes, I mean,
you only use data. I mean,
Yeah.
you make some money from the data traffic or the subscription, if it is, and will come immediately at the prepaid SIM, because it's important for a large number of Romanians. So you don't make money using the voice traffic. Basically, you focus on data.
Our focus is on data because this is where the growth is. Voice is declining every year. The number of minutes that consumers are using over the GSM networks is declining.
Because they use the WhatsApp.
Because more and more use the OTT products. But to be honest, we look at profitability.
WhatsApp, it's an OTT product.
Yes, it's an over-the-top application. The principle being I download it on the phone, I use the internet traffic that is provided to me, and I talk and I do video calling through the internet basically.
So I don't use the voice system, I use the data system.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Use the data system. So we look at the profitability on a per customer basis.
Okay.
And the customers, they can use data, they can use voice, they can use both. They can use other products that we sell because we are developing new products and services at the moment. So, but we do look at the profitability per customer. And on a per customer basis, of course, we're making money. The voice component is less and less relevant.
It's not relevant. Sir, your company has, I say, a steady turnover of more than 1 billion euros per year in Romania. Out of this money, how much is the annual investment you need to do?
Sure. So we invest north of 200 million euro every year.
Every year, just to make the network working.
Not only network, so we invest on infrastructure and we invest on the creation of new digital services, new innovative services that we then offer to our enterprise customers as well as to the consumer customers. We have become a lot more than just a network operator. And this is a trend, if you like, in the telecoms industry, because we see a lot of growth opportunity to actually offer, beyond the connectivity part, products and services that help enterprises, specifically enterprises, to become more digital, efficient, effective, let's say. So, for example, Internet of Things. I'm sure you've heard about this famous
5G.
IoT. We have a range of services that are offered over the 4G network. Doesn't necessarily need to be 5G, although there are limits to what you can do with 4G. But automation services or digitalizing parts of the business that today are happening in the traditional manner. I'll give you a classic example, which is a call center.
Yes.
We
are interested in a call center because I have a pool company. So you are at the right gate now. So how can you help us?
I may be selling to you at the moment.
Yes,
so
how can you help us?
In the old days, remember, we used to buy big boxes, we put them somewhere in a storage area, and we had fixed telephones for everyone in the office.
And we have to need coolers to have a room especially survive, not to be on fire.
Exactly.
It's a lot of
so a lot of hardware and a lot of hassle for someone that wants a call center.
Yes.
Today we can offer this type of services in a fully virtualized manner. So you don't need a fixed phone. You can use your mobile phone and you can have a fixed number and a mobile number. You don't need the hardware anywhere. We will store everything and we run everything from the famous cloud. So it's cloud-based basically. So that allows you to be a lot more flexible in how you run your business, because you can assign numbers to new employees, for example, very quickly. It's a lot more economical to maintain because you don't need a specialist in your premises to run this on your behalf, and you don't need to upgrade it every 5 years and so on and so forth. And you get all of that on a monthly subscription basis. So for us, these types of services are more and more relevant, and this is where growth is coming from in the new era.
I understand. So even the call centers, Romania has many call centers in many fields, because lots of big companies, they want to test all the time their consumers. You offer them the possibility to not to have those huge buildings which cost money. You need to heat it or to cool it, or you have to do it. You can do it on your smartphone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the famous virtualization.
I
We are
see.
virtualizing a lot of the components of the infrastructure that a business is operating today. And as I said, especially for small and medium enterprises that cannot afford to spend a lot of money to have the hardware in place, the specialized IT engineers that may take care of it, and so on and so forth. We come to you and we offer all of this to you on a monthly subscription basis.
After the interview, we need to discuss about that.
I'm very happy to do so.
What about the prepaid SIMs cards, sir? We have millions of prepaid SIMs cards in Romania. It was a huge debate. Romanian people, they are very much afraid that the Securitate is listening to them on an illegal basis, and we have this opportunity to buy the SIM without the ID card. How is the situation now? What is your opinion about this prepaid card?
Well, I think there is, the world is changing and security is more and more important for countries. This was an initiative that has started in many markets in Europe to put a name to the user, basically, for what purposes? For security purposes. And I can tell you, I have been, when I was in Greece running the commercial business of the Greek operating business we have, before Greece introduced, because in Greece, every prepaid user now needs to provide documentation, an identity. We had incidents where there were, attacks, terrorist attacks, and there were numbers involved in being used, and we could not identify the users. So for me, it's not it's a serious issue. It's a serious issue. Having seen the consequences of not having registered customers, I can tell you that it is a serious issue. There is always the conspiracy theorists that say that, oh my God, if I put my ID on the table, basically they will know who I am and they will monitor. I think people need to trust, first of all, the operators, especially multinational operators like ours, because we're very strict in how we use that data.
The GDPR, yes.
From a GDPR perspective. But I do believe that going forward, it's in the best interest of the country to make sure that we don't have any anonymous users on our networks.
So basically, sir, you're more in favor that any prepaid card should be given with an ID card?
Yes, absolutely.
That will change things. That's very important what you're saying. Probably the guys in the parliaments will take notice of your opinion. Sir, more than about that, recently the government put a fee, an extra fee, for all the companies having more than 50 million euros per year turnover of 1%. This new tax is affecting you, or not?
It is.
It is affecting you.
It is affecting us, yes. It is affecting us.
Please.
I mean, it's something that we are currently working through to understand the precise impact, but it's in the tens of millions. It's not ideal, of course. It's not something that we are happy with, precisely because we are a business that invests more than 200 million euro, and that's for me every year. And this is for me the definition of foreign direct investment. So for companies that invest so heavily in this market, my belief is, and we should continue the dialogue with the government, that this needs to be taken into consideration. We cannot be bundled, if you like, with someone that doesn't invest in the country. So it's not an optimal mechanism for collecting funds for the government. I do hope that through the process of dialogue we will at least be recognized as a heavy investor in the country, and therefore there will be a different, let's say, treatment for us going forward for this. And I would also urge the government, I know that it's been talked about a long time, and I come from a country where in the midst of the crisis 10 years ago, tough decisions were taken, similar sort of decisions, but one strategy was also taken, one strategic decision, which is now paying off for Greece, which is to digitalize the tax authority, and therefore increase the base of tax collection, rather than going to the usual suspects, which is employees of companies and hit them. I can tell you, Greece was far behind in terms of tax collection 10 years ago. And through this process of digitalizing the tax authority, they've done very, very well. And I mean, you see the economic fundamentals of Greece now.
Definitely, I know how Greece was in 2008, 2009, and how Greece managed to survive and recome as an important country in EU economically, because Greece is important anyhow. We learned democracy from Greece thousands of years ago. Vodafone is not only, how much money would you need, I have this extra question, if you want to implement the 5G, the real 5G?
For the sector overall, it's in the, I would say, billions of euros.
Billions.
So I would estimate between 2 to 4 billion euro the market needs in order for real 5G to come to life.
And if you have negotiations with the government, you can have this money. Probably if they give you easy tax in the coming years, you will be able to finance this development of the 5G in Romania.
Well, I mean, as you know, subsidies, the European Commission does not allow any form of subsidy.
Just tax possibilities.
There should be. I mean, I always said to the government, first of all, we need to decide what industry do we want. What's the telecom industry we want in Romania for the next decade?
We want the best, like in US and China.
So if we want the best, given the significant, if you like, disadvantage that operators are at this point in time, then I agree with you. Government needs to sit down with the operators and say, how can we make the conditions such that you invest? And I would happily be chased from the government for my rollout than being chased on taxes and things like that. You know, I would be very happy if the regulator was chasing me every month. Have you rolled out the next 100 sites and the next 100 sites, so that we get to a point where we have 5G penetration at almost 100%, let's say, in the next 5 years, rather than to discuss about taxation. And there are examples of countries like that in Europe.
Which country?
So Austria, for example, is a country where they took a decision to not charge for spectrum, for frequencies.
I see.
So when they had the 5G auction, we paid hundreds of millions in the 5G auction in Romania that happened in November. All of us did, all the operators. So in their case, what they said is, we're not going to charge for the operators to buy the frequencies, but we are going to put a plan, a target on all the operators to have at least, I think it was 50-60% 5G coverage, all the major cities in the country in the next 3 years. For me, this is a much healthier deal, let's say, with the government. To say the government, from a government point of view, to say I am reducing the amount of taxation to the industry, because taxing frequencies is a taxation. The spectrum money is taxation. Yes. I'm reducing the taxation to the industry, but in exchange, I want the operators to come to me with a very aggressive plan, so that in 3 years from now, Romania, for example, is the #1 country in Europe in terms of 5G penetration. For me, that's a healthy dialogue to have with the government. And it goes back to my question, you know, what sort of industry do we want? If we really want the best, with the best industry with world-class infrastructure, secure infrastructure, 5G infrastructure as quickly as possible, I can tell you it can happen, but there is a deal that we need to strike, let's say a new deal with the government.
That will jet the business in Romania. If we would have a real 5G network in this country, probably the business will develop, will go on the roof. It is happening like that because many companies are going to use Romania due to that. Exactly. Sir, Vodafone is not only a telecom company now, it's also a technological company. It's an ecosystem of Vodafone in Romania. You have also companies which are developing technologies.
Absolutely. We have 3 entities in Romania, partially or fully owned by Vodafone. Of course, it's the Vodafone business. And then we have one entity which is a technology shared service center. So we have an entity that is providing services not only for Vodafone Romania, but actually for many markets in Europe. And I have to say this is one of the 3 locations globally that Vodafone Group has chosen to create such a center. And then we have Vantage Towers, which is an entity that was born 2 years ago, which manages on behalf of Vodafone all the Vodafone towers across Europe. So these are 3 entities. The combined headcount people, if you like, that work in these entities is more than 6,000 people. So we are a very important employer, if you like.
In Vodafone, how many people employees in Romania?
At the moment, we are close to 3,300 people as Vodafone. But if you look
the
at the
others?
ecosystem,
Yes.
it's 6,000.
Altogether?
Yes.
And mostly of them, they are engineers, high technologies engineers, IT.
Most of them are engineers. Most of them are engineers, software engineers, network engineers. You know, we have all the specialization of infrastructure and software.
And probably you have competitive salaries in about that.
We do, absolutely, absolutely.
Sir, how do you get those people? Because there is a lot of competition also for the engineers in Romania. The Polytechnic in Bucharest, half of the engineers we produce, Polytechnic is having, go abroad immediately. Companies like you, but you're using them in Romania, but probably use them in some other countries. But also many European countries, they use those fresh engineers to bring them to Amsterdam, to Paris, to Britain, to Rome, and so far. How do you manage to have those people?
No, it's a very good question. So when we started 2 years ago to change the strategy of Vodafone in Romania to say, look, we want to focus more on these new types of services. Firstly, we wanted to recruit externally for more senior engineers. Very quickly you get to the conclusion that it's unaffordable and actually unviable because there are not many of them. So we shifted our strategy and we said, okay, we are going to be a lot more selective on senior recruitment outside, but we're going to focus a lot on university students. And so we developed programs to recruit university students either through internships or rotational programs that we have, where we bring people in, graduates usually. We allow them for a year to rotate across the divisions of the company to get to know basically the company and the industry. And then we, the successful ones, we permanently employ them. That second strategy, I can tell you, that is paying off a lot because as it's not a surprise, but the youth have an incredible ability of learning quickly.
Yes.
So they learn a lot faster. You get the enthusiasm and the energy and the challenge that comes with young people. And the productivity, if you like, and the consequent benefits are far more. So that's the model we use currently. So heavily recruiting on university campuses and very selective senior engineer recruitment.
Just to make it clear for our viewers, young viewers, if I'm in the 4th year in Polytechnic Electronics, how do I get to make an internship to Vodafone? I just write on the internet page of Vodafone that I am Bogdan Chiriac, I am 23 years old, I'm in the 4th years of Polytechnic. Polytechnic is 5 years in Romania. And I want to be internship to Vodafone. How shall we? I of course in electronics.
Yes.
Or IT systems.
Yes. Yes.
How does it work?
So we have many ways that you can contact us through sites such as LinkedIn, for example, where we are present. We are present in university campuses, so we visit university campuses very frequently, and we give presentations, and our recruiters are there to facilitate, let's say, the dialogue with the people. We have recently launched an innovation lab at Polytechnica University, which is a great asset, if you like, of Vodafone that allows the constant communication between the company and students. So you have many channels to reach us. Of course, you can go to our website and submit your resume. What I can tell the young people that are listening to our conversation is that we are listening. We are seeing every single application, and there are a range of programs that we can discuss. We have become a lot more flexible in accommodating the needs of graduates. Another program that I mentioned, I want to mention is part-time employment, for example, for someone that wants to conclude, let's say, the last year of study, but in parallel they want to work for a company.
So you have this opportunity as well,
absolutely.
The part-time.
Absolutely.
So I continue to study and I work 4 hours a day at least for Vodafone.
Absolutely.
And getting paid for that.
And getting paid for it, yes. So we have part-time programs, we have summer internships, we have what we call the Discover program, which is the 1-year rotational program that I mentioned. So there are lots and lots of opportunities. I think my main message is reach out. We are here, we're listening, and to be honest, when it comes to employment with Vodafone, and I'm an example, if you like, of how much opportunity you can get from a company like Vodafone. If you're seeking a long-term career in technology, I don't think there are many companies like us that are able to offer you that opportunity.
You're on one of the top companies in the world, Vodafone.
Absolutely.
So what we're talking about. It's also you're the vice president of American Chamber of Commerce in Romania. Does the American Chamber of Commerce trying to push this government and the Romanian state to be more open for investors, for foreign investors? Because as we see in the last period, unfortunately, those rise of taxes was not welcomed by anybody.
Yes, yes. First of all, I am a board member.
Sorry.
In AmCham, because we have two vice presidents and I don't want them to feel that I'm taking their job. No, as AmCham, this is the primary, if you like, conversation we have with AmCham is how can we continue promoting investments in Romania. And the nice thing about AmCham is that although it's the American Chamber of Commerce, it promotes investment from Europe. It promotes any serious investor that wants to enter Romania could come to AmCham and have a discussion.
It's a very good organization for Romania, the AmCham, definitely.
Yes, yes.
I mean, during the years, they promote a lot of business to this country and they contribute to the prosperity of our country.
And we will continue to do so, and we're very focused, as I said, on investment. For example, when the new fiscal code was announced,
you're not happy.
We were mobilized. We offered, points of view to the government, and the beauty of AmCham is that we have powerful members that understand a lot the consequences of this type of regulation. So we offered basically our thoughts to the government, and we will continue to do that, and we'll continue to work closely with the government because, yes, our objective is we want to see more and more foreign direct investment in the country.
Is the government open to your requirements, to your advices, to your needs?
They are.
That's good
I have
news.
to say they are. Obviously, I understand the constraints that they are operating with. I'm not happy sometimes that the decisions are rushed in the last minute. I would like more dialogue with us because I don't think that you can take a decision, with such an important decision, if there is not substantial enough educated dialogue, especially with organizations such as AmCham or companies such as Vodafone to get their points of view, let's say. But all in all, I believe we have a government that is listening.
It is listening.
Yes.
That's good news. It's good news. We are in the same building with the Competition Council. Mr. Chirițoiu, President Bogdan Chirițoiu is under us with 5 floors, but we are in the same building. My question is, are you trying to talk to Mr. Chirițoiu because how come a subscription with €2 per month can help the industry to develop? Mm-hmm. Because the competition brought those prices so low that actually you cannot go for further investments, or we're going to do that very late compared to other European countries, which is not good for Romania.
It's a very good question. I mean, and it's difficult for authorities that have been working with a mantra of just low prices to, of course, switch to high investment, because low prices and high investment in the past may have worked, but it's not going to work going forward. It's very clear that the competitive dynamics, competition in the telecoms market in Romania is not working effectively. It's not working effectively because coming up with prices of €1.50 unlimited data on mobile, we have proven beyond doubt that it is selling below cost. So if someone sells below cost, there is a conscious strategy to do that. What's the strategy? The strategy is I want to weaken the other market participants so that eventually the whole market becomes a monopoly. What's the consequence on us? The consequence is that the operators that operate with the standard of actually making a profit so that I can return my profit back on investment are reducing more and more the investment capacity. So, we have started a dialogue with all the authorities, including the central government. As I said, it takes time. I'm optimistic because I am speaking with people that understand the challenge. All it leads to is the investment climate. Is the climate in the telecom sector in Romania prone to investment or not? And the answer is not at this point in time. So I'm hoping that through this dialogue we will come to a conclusion to focus the competitive dynamics going forward on investments rather than low prices.
That's a very good way to think. We have the same problems also in the infrastructure projects the government has. Going for the lowest price is not always fine, because then the period of time it's much bigger and we lose a lot of business because we don't have, I say, motorways or railways on these kind of things. Telecommunication is a strategic field, same as motorways and railways and so far in this part. Basically, the last question, Mr. President, are you optimistic about the near future in the country that will allow you to start the implementation of the real 5G, which will change our lives at the end of the day?
I am. I really believe in the prospect of the country. I really believe that Romania, standing back from our sector, Romania as a country has a tremendous potential over the next decade. I really believe that this could be Romania's decade, in my opinion, because you have, apart from the traditional strengths, let's say, of this country, which is, geopolitical location, the human capital, it's a beautiful country and all that. You have on top what I believe will hopefully soon end, the war in Ukraine, and I really believe that Romania has a role to play in the reconstruction of Ukraine. So I see a lot of potential for investment in the country. Now, in our sector, as I told you, I believe there is a way out. There is a way to restore an investment climate that pushes us to do more and more in terms of developing infrastructure and digital services. And I really hope that we will get over the next year to resolve the issues of the sector. And as Vodafone, I can tell you that we are optimistic about the prospects of this operating business. At the moment, it is not an operating business that returns to the level that we want. Actually, the return from Vodafone Romania is lower than the cost of capital of investing in Romania. So for us, it's not a good investment case.
So you lose money for the moment?
For the moment, as an investor. However, because, as I said, we have a clear plan that gets us to a more sustainable, let's say, and a good position in the market, we are very optimistic, and therefore we have the full support of Vodafone Group to continue investing in this market.
It's good to be a huge company all over the world. It's supporting the business in Romania. Mr. President, thank you so much for the interview. You gave us a lot of news, and we wait for you here in our studio for more information when you will think it will be appropriate.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, stimați telespectatori, vă mulțumesc foarte mult că ne-ați urmărit. Sunt convins că a fost un interviu foarte interesant care v-a oferit multe informații cu ceea ce urmează. Rămâneți alături de emisiunile DC News Media Group. Pe curând!